Busy Sunday, there was a chance for some movement in the Western Conference standings. The Warriors starting to create some distance at the top, riding a 10-game winning streak. The Clippers were in first place on December 4th, and now they're holding on to that final spot out west. They took on a Kings team on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. Those two teams going head-to-head. Doc Rivers with some OJ and his team all juiced up. Tobias Harris working out. Should be getting some all-star looks this year. Think Tobias find marching Gortat.
And he's been solid all year for them. He's a guy that we really don't talk about a whole lot, but he could easily be an all-star this year.
Their energy guy, Montrezl Harrell, was incredible, GA.
He might be the most improved player in the league. I mean, he is, what a find for the Clippers in terms of what he has brought to the table. Great energy and consistency all season long.
Double-digit assists for Lou Will off the bench, 10 of them. The Clippers actually assisted on 21 of their first 25 baskets. In the third quarter, back come the Kings. That's De'Aaron Fox. Shows the outside touch, then works it inside.
Yeah, I love this young backcourt with him and Buddy Hield. I think in a couple years, man, they can be competing for one of the top spots in the backcourt because they play well together and their games fit each other.
And then the third guy, Bogdanovich, is terrific as well.
So we had a 5-point game. And in Patrick Beverley, known for his defense, providing some offense, Montrezl Harrell cleaning up the mess. 25 points off the bench for Harrell. He also added 7 rebounds, missed just 2 shots. Here's Patrick Beverley with Christina Pink following the victory.
Pat.
So many positives for the Clippers in that one, but let's focus on the assists. 35 team assists. Lou Will, known as a guy that'll get you a bucket, but he had 10 of those. Really, they were effective as a total unit, being able to make sure everyone gets a touch.
You know, they put a tremendous amount of pressure on you with their ability to execute offensively. You know, they get the rim runs. They can space it with the three-point shooting. They're collectively a good passing basketball team with terrific spacing. And so when you've got that combination and the confidence with which they're playing right now, you know, they're having success. You know, they had a little bit of a struggle there. Obviously, Gallinari's out right now, but they seem to have righted the ship here, having won 3 in a row.
And you say a struggle when we look at the Kings and the Clippers a month and a half ago. It was like, wow, look at these two teams surprising everyone towards the top of the Western Conference standings, and you see where they are now. Not that they're bad, because both teams are still exceeding expectations, but the trading deadline is coming up. If you're the Kings, if you're the Clippers, do you buy or do you sell? What do you say, Rip?
Well, for the Kings, I think you stay put. I mean, you got a great young nucleus here. Like we talked about, I feel like they got in a couple years, we'll be talking about Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox as one of the best backcourts in the game. And I think they complement each other. You got one guy that dominates the ball in Fox, and then you got Buddy Hield just coming off pin downs and screens and things like that. And you got a young Bagley out there still trying to find his way around the league. So if I'm the Kings, I'm staying put. Maybe add a couple veterans for the locker room, you know, so they can understand how to win and win big games. I mean, we've seen it early in the season. Some games they have big leads and they'll give them up and end up losing the game. So I think if you're the Sacramento Kings, you got to stay put with this young team.
And the thing about it is they're not in a scenario where they've got championship aspirations. So in essence, to Rip's point, they're playing with the house's money.
Yeah.
So, like, if this is a team that somehow finds himself in the postseason, that's a confidence boost that you give this young crew. Because ultimately, that's the ultimate validation as a player, team-wise, is confidence. If you make the postseason with that young core, like, then they go to another level. And so I want to just see progress if I'm Sacramento. I'm not necessarily looking to change anything in terms of what we're doing because we're a competitive team with our young core nucleus. I don't want to disrupt that right now. And they seem to be all guys that get it.
Yeah.
Like there's no issues in their locker room. They don't have any malcontents. They got guys that come to work every day with their hard hat that want to get better. So Sacramento, in essence, they're in the perfect situation. They're ahead of expectations right now. They got a great young core nucleus that they just want to continue to develop because at some point, Golden State's not going to be Golden State. Now, that may not happen for a couple years, but eventually there's going to have to be a new kid on the block. We see it in the Eastern Conference right now, and you see how many of those teams are taking another step. I think Sacramento is kind of indicative of that, and they are heading in the right direction.
Taking a step back, you mentioned the Clippers and the depth that they have because Danilo Gallinari not playing right now. Montrezl Harrell able to give you 25 off the bench. When you look at the fact that the Clippers can rely on bench guys like Montrez and like Lou Will, does that make them, you look at them as a team that could make the playoffs out west?
Absolutely. You know, I thought they'd have a chance, but they've exceeded my expectations as well. I mean, in part because of how good Harrell has played for them. Obviously, Lou Williams is a six-man-of-the-year candidate every year, but then you look at how good Tobias and Gallinari have played. The fact now Beverly and Bradley are healthy. Maybe if they can, because remember, they really haven't been very good, that backcourt. So now if you start getting consistency out of those two, this becomes a much scarier team. I think everybody, when you look at that Western Conference, there's Golden State and there's everybody else. And so if you're the Clippers, you're like, we can beat anybody 4 times in a 7-game series.
And they've been doing it by committee. I mean, we're so used to the Los Angeles Clippers, you know, doing it just going through 2 guys, Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. So Doc Rivers had to change his offensive schemes. And now you got a lot of guys that played on multiple teams and now actually found a home. And they love playing with each other. And when it showed last year because they came out and played hard every game. They didn't have the talent, but they played hard each and every night. And now they're starting to figure it out. Tobias Harris is coming into his own. Lou Williams has been doing what he's been doing his whole career. But now he's not just a scorer, he's a playmaker. He went out and had 10 assists today, and then you got Harrell just came in and just puts his energy, his athletic ability, imprint on the game, and he's been great for them also.
So the Clippers and the Kings, 2 teams out west still fighting for playoff position. Out east, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Chicago Bulls, not so much.
They're not fighting. They're fighting, but not for playoffs.
But you know what?
For that
no tanking here. No tanking here. No rip. We got a close game in the fourth quarter.
No, they still
marketing.
They fighting for Zion.
They fighting for that number 1 pick.
As Matt Cain said, they fighting for Zion position.
Don't tell the players that.
They know it.
Jetty Osman trying to make sure the Cavs get their win and get off the snide. Cleveland had lost 6 straight. Chicago, 7 consecutive home losses. 2-point game in the fourth. How about that? Big shot from Alec Burks.
And that's sad too, GP, because they got a lot of young guys on the Chicago Bulls team that know how to play. Just hopefully they can get it together, get some vets. And I don't know if they're going to get a new coach, but they got to figure this out.
Yeah, and really both these teams in a lot of ways are what they want to be what Sacramento is. They just haven't been able to get to that point, and it's frustrating from the top of that organization on down.
So Zach LaVine with a look to try to send it to overtime. He misses, finishes the game with 17 points and 12 rebounds. So the Chicago Bulls lose their 8th consecutive home game, while the Cleveland Cavaliers, they break a 6-game losing streak and get the victory 104-101. Coming up, we'll hear from one half of the Splash Brothers. Klay Thompson tells us why his percentages are on the rise. That's next. You're watching Game Time Live.
Got a final score with less than 10 seconds to
go.
go.
Gotta box out the shooter, though.
Green with a missed free throw, and that would somewhat seal the deal for the defending champion Warriors over the Boston Celtics. They go on to win it 115-111. Stephen Curry led the way with 24 points. Klay Thompson added 21. Oh, and KD, by the way, had 33.
Quiet 33.
9 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 10 of 23 from the field. Okay, so now they've won 10 in a row. And for the other 29 teams in the NBA, that's got to feel a little bit discouraging. Let's hear what KD had to say after the game. So we've talked a lot about what Kevin Durant can do, what Stephen Curry can do, what Klay Thompson can do. But in the Warriors win over the Lakers on Monday, Klay told me after the game that he was most excited about welcoming DeMarcus Cousins into that lineup, not just because of his scoring ability, but because of his playmaking ability. He did have 15 points in this one. He's getting accustomed not just to their lineup, but to the Warriors' style of play. What are you most looking forward to about Boogie getting incorporated into this lineup?
Well, what I've seen from him, first of all, is that he looks like a new man.
Yeah.
And I think, first of all, that injury and not getting the contract offers that he thought he would get this summer, I think that woke him up. And from a maturity standpoint, I know it's early on, but he looks more mature. From a defensive standpoint, he's really competing more defensively than I've seen him compete in the past. And offensively, he's fit in seamlessly. And I never had any questions about that because I know Boogie Cousins can play offense. I know that he can set good screens, he can pick and pop, he can roll to the basket. And I understood that he could give this team an interior presence. It's the other intangible things that he's doing very well right now. He's basically rehabilitating his image, and that's going to be worth more in the offseason than anything he does on the court because people had questions about his character. I think when we get done with this, when he gets done with this stint with Golden State, they're going to look at him totally different.
And he fits well with this ball club right now because he's a big man that can pass the ball. And when you look at this team with Steph Curry, a lot of times plays off the ball, and Draymond Green plays that point forward. Now, when you take Draymond off the floor, even if you got Draymond on the floor, Boogie can run the offense too.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm more impressed about him is the way that he's running the floor.
Yeah.
He's in transition, getting wide open layups. He's willing to give his body up. If it's setting screens, getting Clay wide open shots. Now teams can't blitz. You know, Steph Curry, KD, and Clay on a perimeter. So it's a big benefit for the Golden State Warriors.
It looks like for him to be out so long, he looks like he's in great shape.
Yes.
Like when I looked at him before, he would sometimes not be running the court in Sacramento. He'd be lagging behind.
Yeah.
Now I see him sprinting, getting
energetic.
Layups. It's amazing what can happen when you put people in the right situations, when you have very good coaches, when you have good teammates, they hold you accountable, you respect them, they respect you. I think DeMarcus Cousins needed this for his career.
And the respect factor is big because I played with a guy like Rasheed Wallace, and when Rasheed came to Detroit, he respected Ben Wallace so much that he wouldn't let him down. When I'm looking at Boogie Cousins, he's doing the same thing. He's looking in the mirror and says, I can't let Steph Curry down. I can't let KD down. I can't let my teammates down or I will get exposed, especially on this team. And he's doing a great job of playing well for this ball club.
Yeah, just so much. And then, like I said, offensively, that's just another bag of tricks. That's the icing on the cake. It's unfair. That's the icing on the cake. And when they start using him in the post a little bit more, when they feel like Achilles can handle even more action, imagine what they can do. You know, they come out of timeout, they throw the ball to Draymond in the post, and they have all that backside cutting action. Imagine when they flip it and it's Boogie in the post. Draymond's normally looking to make that pass. Boogie can make the same pass, but at the same time, if you don't double him, he can go out there and score 4 or 5 buckets in a row. So he gives the Golden State Warriors a totally unfair advantage. Like, we knew they were the best team in the league before. Like, now, it's like an all-star team taking on regular teams every night.
And it's been a big plus for them, too, because them losing Zaza and JaVale McGee, veteran guys. Just veteran guys that just know how to play. And people don't understand, sometimes when you got 4 vets on the team and 1 young guy, a rook, sometimes they don't understand the concepts and know how to run the offense. Now you got a veteran guy that just knows how to play. So now you can run a secondary break and get easy shots.
But literally, they are 5 all-stars taking on every other team.
All NBA guys still.
Right.
I seen something on Instagram the other day that said, who do you think wins this matchup? It was the starting lineup for the East All-Stars versus the Golden State Warriors starting lineup. It's unfair. They have so much talent on this team, and then everybody commits to the Golden State Warriors way. They start being submissive out there. They go out there, they pass the ball. They're not worried about themselves. It's selfless basketball. It's fun to watch also.
Christian, you can't take no plays off with this team.
No. Well, and the concern was not just about Boogie's conditioning because he had been injured for as long as he had been injured. It was also because the Warriors play at such a faster pace than he had ever seen in Sacramento or in New Orleans. So for him to come back and to fit in as seamlessly as he has in the minutes he's been given is even more impressive.
Yeah, like I said, it's a testament to him.
Yeah.
He realized what he did in previous stops from a behavioral standpoint, a basketball standpoint, wouldn't work here. He's adjusted his game, and I respect him a lot for it.
He's getting challenged every day, especially in practice. When you're walking into practice and you got Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, you got 2 former MVPs. Like, it's not about you no more. Like regardless if you come to play or you don't, the train still keeps moving. They won a championship before you, so he knows that he wants it as bad as they do. So he knows that he got to pretty much do what he got to do to go out there and play and win games.
Well, for those of us who are simply listening to us talk about the defending champs, but perhaps missed their win over the Boston Celtics, let's go ahead and get you guys to the highlights.
Oh, we got highlights?
Yeah,
oh, man.
Fresh off the press.